Man, the things I wish I knew before coming out as trans. I mean, not to be dramatic, but I mean, yeah, there are things I wish I knew. So yeah, folks, today we're going to be talking about the things I wish I knew before coming out as trans, because I know when I was coming to terms with my gender identity and getting ready to tell people, I really had no idea what I was getting myself into or really what to expect. And now that I've, been out for a while and have gained some experience, these are some things I wish I could tell my younger self and to any of my trans siblings out there who could use this advice. So we're going to go ahead and get started with number one, and that is people are going to surprise you. I know a lot of people say that, but it is true. I was honestly really surprised with myself, first off to say. I didn't know I had the courage and I guess the bravery to do this, because some people maybe don't feel like what they're doing is that brave or courageous, but going against what you grew up knowing and kind of doing your own thing to feel most like yourself, I don't know, that's pretty courageous. Well, when I was younger and had the inkling that I was trans, I didn't think I was going to do anything about it or kind of get to do anything about it. So the fact that I'm at this point right now and talking about it to all of you, I'm surprised with myself. And what I was kind of really getting at is people are going to surprise you. You don't know how people are going to react when you come out to them. For me, I come from a religious household. I grew up in the church. So I thought I knew how all my family members felt about certain things, but I did not. I didn't. At this point, after telling my family, I'm surprised that they're quite accepting of me. Not quite, they are accepting of me. A few people, it takes some time for people to come around, but I mean, hey, telling someone new information, it's gonna take time for them to adapt to it. You have to give people that grace period. For myself, I had to do that, but you ultimately don't know how people are gonna react. Especially with people I went to church with. I was not expecting them to be so joyous and happy for the things that I'm accomplishing. So anyway, if any of you watching right now, just thank you for, holding space for me. And then the next thing I wish I knew was when you're coming out, that's just the beginning of your story. You have no idea what's down the line and the joy waiting for you. And ultimately, I mean, I say it, but it does in fact get easier with time. This is the beginning, so it's gonna be a little rough at the start. But once we get in the motion, you got this. Another thing I wish I knew is it's okay to take your time. Ultimately, it has taken me a while to come to terms with my gender identity and to get to this point in life. I guess you could say it's been about 10 years since I first thought I was trans, and then I finally really started doing stuff and transitioning in the last 4 or 5 years. And so have grace with yourself. It's okay to take time to figure out who you are. There's no deadline, there's no rush, there's no penalty to taking your time. Another thing I wish I knew was it is quite common for your identity to evolve with you over time because, coming out as trans, you're giving yourself that space to learn and grow and try to figure out who you are. So, with what, you might find and be comfortable with one label at one point and then realize down the line that you're comfortable with another one. Ultimately, there's nothing wrong with that. The more time you have with figuring out who you are, you'll figure out what feels most comfortable, And something I wish someone told me sooner was don't compare your journey to someone else's. And I know I say this a lot, but all of us experience things differently because we all have different experiences. They're all our own journeys. That's why my journey is different from yours, because you are a different person than me. So ultimately, the timeline that I accomplish things and do stuff is going to be different from you because our situations are different, and that's just kind of is what it is. But isn't that, it's kind of beautiful. We're all our own people, so we're all going to accomplish our own things on our own timelines. Ultimately, comparison is the thief of joy, and if you're comparing yourself to some trans person that's younger than you and oh, look at all the stuff they did. It's what? That's their journey. It's okay that you're not accomplishing things at the same rate as someone else. And it's just good to be reminded of that. And especially, it's one thing to compare yourself to another trans person, but specifically don't compare yourself to another cis person because, guys, they had an at-birth advantage. Sometimes am I comparing myself to other 22-year-old men, and I'm like, look at all the facial hair they have. What? I have this? And then I have to remind myself, calm down, Steph. You're a late bloomer. Your time will come. It is okay. And also, if I look this young now, I'm gonna look great when I'm 60. And another thing that I just want to include and make sure people know, especially if you're early on in your journey, being trans is not a one-size-fit-all experience, because being trans is literally you're transitioning into being more comfortable with who you are as a person and feeling more connected with your gender, and you get to decide what that looks like. That could be taking hormones, that could be getting surgeries, or that could look like not taking hormones and not getting surgeries, because again, you're doing whatever is going to make you feel most comfortable with yourself. And another thing I wish I knew sooner was, I knew that, gender expression doesn't equal gender identity. So like, I know I present masculine and I like presenting masculine, but that doesn't mean I can't like feminine things. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna have a little feminine personality or a little, I can be listening, I can be blasting Sabrina Carpenter down the highway. And who cares? I like listening to her music. And another thing I want to make sure is in this video was you get to decide if you come out to someone and how you do it, and if you even do it at all, because it can be a serious thing. I've had like fairly sit down conversations with people in my life, family members, but like you also can just have it be an off one, like just little text like, oh yeah, I use he him pronouns now, and call me Stefan instead of and we're all good, or you don't like. You can also just like kind of let people connect the dots. I may or may not have done that for quite a few people, but it's up to you. You get to decide. The last thing I wish I knew was to have patience. A lot of people sometimes, like when they are starting their transition and coming to terms with being trans, is they kind of want just like things like that. They just want, to not have to deal with all the middle ground, all the hard stuff. But ultimately that's part of the deal. That's part of the contract. You're transitioning, so you're gonna be transitioning. You're not gonna wake up and immediately everything be done. So things take time. Figuring out who you are takes time. Accomplishing your transition goals takes time. Waiting on doctor's appointments, waiting on prescriptions, waiting on getting things legally changed, waiting on when is the right time to tell people, all this stuff. It takes time. It takes patience. And I think patience can kind of adhere to everything that I shared in this. I think one thing that's really key to learn is how to have patience, and have patience with yourself, have patience with other people. It's not easy, obviously, but it's just something that's there and that needs to be shared. But yeah, those are the things I wish I knew, and I really hope this was helpful to all my trans siblings. And I think I'm gonna make this a little series of things I wish I knew, because I made one about stuff I wish I knew before getting top surgery. And stay tuned for what the next episode will be. And if there's things you would want to know, leave them down below in the comments, and maybe it'll make it into a video. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and truly, I hope this was helpful. I will see you on the next one. Bye!